So this is the developer log for Gensh's 3rd edition Infernals thing, which isn't really a conversion anymore. This is log number 0, I guess, the introduction, although I'm a computer scientist, so I start with 0 on most things anyway. The reason for doing this is, well, partially so that I actually have some motivation because I've just been slacking off terribly, and also partially because most of what I've done so far is I've made these big, long forum posts that I don't know if people don't want to read them because my writing style is boring and stilted and technical, or if they just don't want to read it because they don't want to argue with me because I seem argumentative or arrogant or something. And I'm not. I am argumentative. I actually like fighting people a lot. But that's not the point. Point is that I mainly post these things because I enjoy the discussion rather than anything else. So I want people to fight me. Blood for the blood god. I don't play corn. But I don't get a lot of feedback in these threads. There's 2 people who come in regularly. And then I've got a friend who doesn't post on the boards but who reads them when I make him. And that doesn't really help me. I'm not doing this thing that is no longer a conversion because, I need to, because I could, just up and play Mythinder or Mystic Empyrean or something and just ignore the 3rd edition rule set until, this comes to pass. Actually, I would still play Dragon-Blooded. But, Solar's never interested me, and I'm not sure what I'm going to think about this edition of Abyssals, but it's a long wait until Infernals and Alchemicals, so I would just, go off and play other games until then. But, I do this because other people want to play Infernals, and I want to be able to play Infernals with people instead of just saying, oh, hey, we're playing Mystic Empyrean, but we're using a different setting. So, this is for you guys, and this is, I can't really do a whole lot unless I get feedback. That's the most important thing. I know it's not been pretty so far. Those of you who actually looked at my artwork know that that is particularly true as far as that. But I have made lots of mistakes in the actual development so far. I went back and looked at. See, what happened with my last post is I went back and looked at what I had done so far, and it ended up being a kind of a graceful Wicked Masks incident, where I looked back at it and I was given infinity and I just kind of crammed it into this sort of generic Euro fantasy instead of really doing anything with it. I mean, it was all within the parameters of the Demon City, but it wasn't the Demon City, and that's kind of what I've accused the writers of doing anyway. So that's my bad. I not eating my own dog food there. What I needed to do really was to step back and look at things from scratch. I tried to force a sort of scenario where you would be forced to. I was forcing, you were forcing. Anyway, that you would have to think of the Demon City in a different sort of way than you normally would, and that was what happened with the Yozis Civil War. I was trying to establish this scenario where you couldn't just go into it and saying, oh, well, here's the Demon City, here's this thing that I've already seen, here are the Yozis are scary. And I tried to make it where, okay, well, no, you've got the Yozis who are up here doing these Yozi things, the metaphorical concepts, I don't know what, and you have like the 3rd circle demons or the generals, and then you've got your commanders and fellow soldiers, the 2nd circle demons, and then you've got the 1st circle demons, which are just fodder. And it could have worked, but it really misses the point of the Demon City, which is exoticism. Now, that in and of itself is something of a problem, especially when I'm not working with a visual medium. Like, if I had some illustrations that weren't mine, it would help, but, like, I don't think one of the major inspirations for my writing in general is Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind. What I think a novelization of Morrowind, no matter how good, would just completely fail at evoking the same sort of exoticism as the visuals of the game itself did. Like, you can talk about a silt strider, but you actually have to see a silt strider in order to get it. You know, it's a giant flea that you ride around on, and it's like a caravan thing, and it doesn't jump like a flea, and I don't really understand its means of locomotion. Um, but you see the point. I tried to, evade the issue of exoticism by, converting it into the sort of standard, oh, okay, well, this is a civil war, these are the factions, and no matter how interesting the factions were, and no matter how especially interesting the conflict between the Yozis would have been, um, it's reframing the issue rather than actually directly confronting it, which isn't really my style. So what I wanted to do instead was, okay, stop. I'm not doing the Yozi Civil War. I'm going to go back and I'm going to rebuild the Demon City from the ground up. Um, Not in the literal sense, although you could totally do that in the literal sense with, like, an Essence 5 Malfeas Shintai. Probably, like, I've talked about the way I'm changing Shintai before, but I've made some modifications since then, and um, really, you will be able to have your infernal city go up against an alchemical city in a death match of cities, and it won't just be like, oh, well, I'm building this gun tower, I'm building this gun tower. No, you're actually gonna have the cities, and you're gonna build up your armies, and I've got plans for that, but I don't really have time to go into that now. Um, in short, I'm going to be keeping these logs as, my daily thoughts. Well, it's not going to be daily. Well, it might be daily. I don't know. Um, but basically my thoughts as they come rather than me writing them down and having just this long blob of text that no one wants to read. Um, and, you can, just start the video, listen to the audio, go multitask, eat a sandwich, go make a sandwich for your significant other, make yourself. I don't know what I'm saying. I need a sandwich.